Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, gold accounting for majority of Ghana's exports since the second quarter of 2023, contributing more than 40% of our total exports.
The second quarter of 2023, gold had a share of 47.5%. This has increased by 10.1 percentage points to 57.6% in the second quarter of 2024.
Ahead, we'll assess the economic implications. Also, telecoms industry suffers 118 million Ghana cedi loss due to fiber cuts in the first half of 2024, according to the Chamber of Telecommunications. More as the Chamber launches Save Our Fiber campaign to tackle the challenge. But how effective is this strategy? We will discuss. My name is Darryl Powell. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. First up, gold is accounting for majority of Ghana's exports since the second quarter of 2023. According to statistics released by the Ghana Statistical Service, gold constituted more than 40% of our total exports for each quarter since last year. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kopneni.
We turn to the export and import of products by its shares over the last 5 quarters, starting the second quarter of 2023 to the second quarter of 2024. We continue to see the dominance of gold, and its share has been further consolidated with an upward change of about 10.0 percentage points between the second quarter of 2023 and the second quarter of 2024. Specifically, in the second quarter of 2023, gold had a share of 47.5%. This has increased by 10.1 percentage points to 57.6% in the second quarter of 2024, giving gold a further consolidation of its dominance from an export perspective. From an import perspective, we continue to see stability for the import of mineral fuels and oils, with its contribution being about a third, specifically 29.3% from the second quarter of 2023, and hovering plus or minus this figure with a current figure of 29.6% for the second quarter of 2024.
All right, Professor Peter Korte is Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research. He joins me on Zoom to discuss this. Good afternoon to you, Prof. Let's begin with the big headline that Ghana continues to export more than what we import since last year. However, the value, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, from April to June this year declined marginally to 5.4 billion cedis. And this also marks a substantial reversal in terms of what the country recorded in the first half of 2023. What does this say about how well we are doing with cutting down on imports, and how significant is this for the economy?
Well, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. This indeed is quite significant if you look at how much gold is contributing to our export revenue. And even the share itself is quite striking, 57.6% of our total exports. Given that gold prices are also going up, it tells you that we are really getting value for our gold, except to say that we have to be processing more if we want to see its major significance on the economy. But it also ties in with our current challenges of illegal mining. I mean, if gold is bringing in so much, then we need to mine responsibly. We have to ensure that mining is done in such a way that we do not destroy our soil, we don't destroy our river bodies, we make mining sustainable. And also diversification, because agric is quite critical. We are exporting cocoa and some agricultural products, but it is for gold to account for more than 50%. It means that we are not doing well when it comes to agric, and more importantly, trying to process some of our raw materials to gain more value.
Yeah, I want to bring up cocoa. You mentioned it. We are told that the export value of cocoa beans dropped by 26.9% in the second quarter. How worrying is this?
It is worrying because it's not just the second quarter. It started declining from second quarter of 2023, on quarter-on-quarter basis, we have seen significant decline in cocoa beans, some above 20%, and the trend has not been reversed. So it is quite worrying. I mean, as we continue to mine and derive more from gold, we are destroying one of our major export base, that is cocoa. And I think we need to address this illegal mining challenge. Let's mine in a sustainable manner. We are not saying we should ban mining, but let's mine in a very sustainable manner so that we don't destroy cocoa, we don't destroy our food crop production, we don't destroy our water bodies, and then we can live in a healthy environment.
Yeah, and like I pointed out at the beginning, it appears that we are exporting more than we are importing. And we are being told that is only that the value of the decline is declining in value. I should rather put it that way. What does it say generally when it comes to trade, cutting down imports, improving on exports, and what correlation can we draw to how our economy is faring right now?
Yeah. So when you look at you come to the capital accounts, you come to other interest payments, that's where we are found wanting. But when it comes to trading goods, you see we have a surplus. But because we borrow and we service interest payments with capital flights, etc., at the end of the day, we are not able to reap so much from all the gains we have made from trade. So it tells us that we need to do more. We need to engage in more high-value services, so we are able to strike a good balance when it comes to our exports and imports. We are importing more from China, but we are exporting more to the UAE. Interestingly, we have shifted gradually from the colonial masters. We have shifted gradually from the West, where we used to import, now export and import. Now we are shifting to Asia as the years go by.
Yeah, and so if you're a manager of the economy, looking at these figures presented by the Ghana Statistical Service, what do you do with them? I mean, what recommendations do you make?
Well, this is telling you where you are exporting to. I mean, it's good that now we are diversifying our export base, we are diversifying our import sources, but then it also tells you that we need to trade more within the continent. Trade within Africa is only 9.8%.
Wow.
When in Asia, we are sending over 50% to Asia. So it tells you we are not trading within our continent. Hopefully, the AFTA will help us to address some of these challenges. Secondly, we need to add more value, more processing. It's when you process your products, then you get more value than exporting them in raw form, raw cocoa beans, gold bullions. We need to add more value to our exports. And as I mentioned earlier, the need for diversification. There are non-traditional exports. We've seen cashew nuts, for instance, striking quite a good number, about $1.2 billion from $1.2 billion from cashew nut. That is quite, so that comes after good oil production. It tells you that's an area we need to concentrate. So the data provided by Statistical Service gives us a lot of room to know where to invest more, to know how to invest, to know where to mine or produce in a sustainable manner, and also add value to our exports and also reduce our import, but rather depend more on local production.
Is it problematic that we are importing more from China?
It is not. Once you have good value, for me, it's irrespective of where you import from, if you are getting value for money. So if China is giving us value for money, why not? But if they are cheap, inferior products, then that's a cause of concern. And then we also have to diversify. If we focus everything on China, so anything happen to China, is going to affect our economy. So we shouldn't load everything to Asia or to China, but diversify. But as I said, it's Asia that is taking 50% of our import, but China is taking 20.9. So it tells you other Asian countries like India, Indonesia, etc., are also taking some of the we imported from some of these countries. So it's a bit diversified, and we should continue to diversify our import sources.
All right. One last question before we go. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has been meeting to review the economy. We expect an announcement on the policy rate at the end of the meeting. Where do you see this going?
Well, I think given what we see now, inflation has been trending down marginally for quite some time. The outlook doesn't look too disturbing. Either we stay the policy rate or a reduction, a marginal reduction will go a long way to stimulate reduce some level of lending, reduce the lending rates by some margin. And that can also, in a way, help businesses reduce their cost of operation, reduce their cost of borrowing and their cost of operation. So the bottom line is we want to see either the policy rate maintained or reduced by some margin.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Peter Korle, Director of ESET, joining us with his perspective on the trade statistics released by the Ghana Statistical Service. I appreciate your time. Have a good afternoon. Well, time now for Let's Talk Tech. $18 million cedi loss due to fiber cuts in the first half of 2024, according to the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, which is raising concern about the increasing frequency and the impact on telecom infrastructure. That's the reason it has initiated the Save Our Fiber campaign. I'm joined by Samuel Dowuna, who is founder of Tech Focus 24 for Let's Talk Tech. Good afternoon to you. So just how troubling are these figures, Samuel?
Well, Sarah, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. So yes, it's very, very troubling because you would expect that more and more that the telecom chamber and the industry players talk about fiber cuts. We'd expect that the numbers will be going down. But when you compare what we are seeing now with last year, the full year, the telecom chamber was reporting something around 3,000 something fiber cuts, and they were spending about 50, 60 million Ghana cedis fixing this thing. And so this year, that half year, we are talking about over 5,118 million spent on just repairs. Daryl, this is quite worrying. So you ask yourself, all the talk and all the awareness, public awareness and stuff that is going on regarding this issue, what has been the result then?
Yeah. Yeah. And so to tackle this, were you going to say something?
Yeah. So the point I wanted to make is that a lot of these things are happening from thieves, people who are just going in there, go and cut the fiber, thinking it is cable that they can go and sell, where they can use for ornaments like chains, like bracelets and stuff like that. And this is, you are spoiling a multi-million-dollar infrastructure just to go and sell for points, very, very little money. These are thieves. But then the major one are the road contractors, the real estate developers and stuff like that. When this whole thing began, there was no real coordination between these development actors, i.e. contractors, road contractors and real estate developers, and then those who are laying the cables. But now there is what we call the NEC, which is the National Engineers Coordinating team, where there's supposed to be some coordination going on there. And still, there is fiber cut going on, mainly by road contractors and real estate developers. So you ask yourself, what is going on? What is going on?
So
what the coordination points? What kind of coordination is going on?
So to tackle this, the Chamber of Telecommunications has initiated the Save Our Fiber campaign. What do we know about this?
Yeah, so the Save Our Fiber campaign, I think the focus with the telecom chamber is saying is that it's going to be on now naming those who are the main culprits, naming them and shaming them, and letting the communities know. Because you see, Daryl, whenever there is a fiber cut, our attack as consumers goes to the telcos, because they are the ones that we pay our money to. They are the ones that we have a contract with. You see, but then if the fiber cut is being done by somebody else, so then we need to now begin to name them. And for me, I think it's long overdue. We'll name them, let's name them, let's change them, put out their phone numbers, put out their contacts, let everybody else, you and I, let everybody begin to call them, inundate them with calls. Then they will see, what the impact of their negligence and irresponsibility having on us. Number two, there must be legal actions. And it saddens me that after now, the telecoms chamber is now telling us that they are going to advise telcos to start taking legal action. What happened? Why are these people not being sued? All this while, when these common thieves go and steal cables at the where they have been laid, we hear that they take them to court, they sue them, some of them are jailed. What about the construction companies? What about the real estate companies? What has happened? We sat down for too long, and it is sad that the telecom chamber is now saying they are going to sue them. So we should start suing them. And another measure that I think is very important, Daryl, is that every kind of infrastructure in this country, every utility infrastructure in this country is seen as a national infrastructure. In fact, it's seen as a security infrastructure. So water, if you cut a water pipe, the state fixes it. If you cut electricity cable, the state will fix it. Why shouldn't we have an arrangement where all these contractors that are employed by the state to build roads, when they cut something, if the money should be taken from source, the state should pay it, and then whatever is meant to be paid to them, it should be taken from source. If we begin to do this, look, I'm sure everybody is going to wake up. Then, anytime you are going to dig, whether it is in the forest, whatever, if you are going to dig a ground, you are going to use excavator, should call the various stakeholders, everybody to come and see what you are going to do and what kind of impact it's going to have on everyone else. Then we prevent some of this so that the measure will then become more of a preventive thing than we always having to cut the cable and then we now begin to go and kill.
Yeah, I was just wondering how effective the strategy of naming and shaming would be.
Look, I honestly think it's going to be effective, because if you are naming them and shaming them and then prosecuting them, and then the state now becomes interested. Look, today as we talk, development infrastructure is mainly digital infrastructure. Because now development infrastructure is no more about roads, about buildings and bridges. It is about digital infrastructure, what we call digital public infrastructure. That is the basis of development now. So national security, for instance, must be interested. It must be a security infrastructure. They must be interested. Otherwise, if we leave it, if we now say that when it is damaged, it is now a private interest. So the private sector person, i.e. the telco or the ISP, should go and fix it. I don't think it's right. So everybody must be involved. And naming and shaming is because if we said that contractor A, contractor B is the one that cut fiber at community X, because of which we have this, and then you put their number out, and then everybody now begin to call them out, and it is going to use them.
All right, I want to switch topics. I want to talk, last week we started a conversation on the increase in the banking sector fraud and how the employees are found to be involved. Well, there's an article you authored which is basically saying that Kenya, for instance, is employing the use of artificial intelligence to check employees. How is that?
So what the Kenyan government is doing, I said the Kenyan government, the Kenyan banks, together with the central bank, with the regulator, are doing this. And they are employing AI to then monitor the activities, not of fraudsters, but then of staff. You see, because a lot of the fraud that goes on involves staff. Listen, you take SIM swap, fraud, for instance, which acted up for about 4-point-something million Ghana cedis, which are just 15 cases. So it tells you that when you swap somebody's SIM, you can go all the way to then access the person's bank account. Now, even in accessing the person's bank account, you need to send a message via email, because you see, when you want to do digital banking with your bank, you have to give them an advice which says that whatever message comes from this particular email address, they should deal with that without calling you, but because they should see it as genuine. So if a SIM swap fraudster is able to work with an insider at the telco, because you can never swap a SIM without a tab being involved. I mean, let's be clear on that one. You can never swap a SIM without a tab being involved. That's one. Then number two, you can never send an email. Use that email that you are giving to the bank.
Oopsie, looks like we have lost Samuel, the winner there, founder Tech24 Focus. We'll catch up with him some other time. Thank you, Sammy. Well, now, to other news, the Acting Registrar of Cooperative Societies in Ghana, Kwabena Aprekuyabo, has advised members of credit unions to desist from seeking redress from the law courts on issues bothering the unions. He wants them to exhaust all internal means of conflict resolution to avoid waste of time and financial resources. Mr. Yeboah was speaking at the 42nd and 43rd Annual General Meeting of the Hydro Cooperative Credit Union at Akosombo in the Eastern Region. Edwin Kofisian reports.
The annual general meeting, which covered 3 financial years, was on the theme Building Resilient Hydro Cooperative Credit Union in a Competitive Market Environment. Established in 1971, the union was owned and controlled by the staff of the Volta River Authority. However, it now has a membership of over 14,000, including VRA, Gridco, and Bui Power Authority staff, who form majority. Other members include public and private workers, individuals, churches, and small-scale and medium-scale enterprises, with a total asset of over 160 million Ghana cedis. In his welcome address, board chairman of the Hydro Cooperative Credit Union, Joseph Asare Keteku, assured members of the union's effort at recovering a 16 million cedis locked-up funds with investment firms.
Our SIC Financial Services, we have about 10.5 million Ghana cedis locked up. NTHC Financial Services have about 2.1 million Ghana cedis. Gold Coast Security Management, also we have about 2.2 million Ghana cedis. Relatively put together, about 16 million has been locked up. And the board of directors are still pursuing it. We are told that the government of Ghana has made some funds available, that all persons and institutions who have their funds locked up, the appropriate regulatory authorities should ensure that those funds are refunded to the parties who actually invested in those houses.
On the spot, the acting registrar of the cooperative societies, Kwabena Aprekuyabo, advised members of credit unions to resist the temptation of seeking redress at the law court, since the cooperative laws enjoins members to exhaust all internal means of conflict resolution.
That if we rush to court with our issues, we incur costs. With regard to legal fees, we have to pay to lawyers and the filing processes at the court. Meanwhile, your cooperative that you take to court is going to use the funds that you have contributed in the cooperative to fight the case. Let us therefore familiarize ourselves with the provisions for grievance handling in our bylaws so that we save ourselves totally avoidable expenditures.
The general manager, Edward Ajakwa, revealed to Joy News that the union declared a total dividend of over 25 million Ghana cedis from July to December 2021, 2022, and 2023 financial years, out of which 49% was declared to the shareholders. For Joy News, Kofisian Akosombo.
All right, our final story for this afternoon. Chief Executive of Trisolis Farms, Felix Nyakwapi, has advised snail farmers to maintain thorough records and data. Speaking on the Joy Business Masterclass Agribusiness Series, Apia explained data is crucial for tracking progress and ensuring success in snail farming.
You need a little bit of wits about you. You need to be observational. You need to write down some things as well. So when you put them in, how many months it has been, when did they start laying, you have to get some data as well so that you will know for sure if you are making headway or not. Because if you look at snails, if you don't weigh them on periodically weighing them like weekly, you wouldn't know that they are growing, because you see them every day and they are almost like the same. So unless you weigh them and say, oh, I weighed this one, it was 20 grams and now it's 25, I'm seeing improvement, you might get you might not really feel like you are making any impact on that. So keep data as well. That is very important. Data is key. Data is king as well. Yeah.
All right, and so the conversation continues on the masterclass this afternoon in a couple of minutes. We'll be talking vegetable farming. Be sure to make a date. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. The day's latest stories, including the latest statistics from the Ghana Statistical Service on trade. myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching.